It can be very tempting to think that if we told the narcissist that we think he or she might be a narcissist, that somehow that might help things. Maybe they'll have some kind of epiphany and everything will change for the better. Maybe that's the one thing that we have left to do that will finally set things right. Welcome to Looking Behind the Mirror, where we explore narcissism and take our lives back as we make sense out of nonsense. As a quick disclaimer, everything I say is based on my opinions and my personal experiences. I'm not a professional, and if you're really struggling, I encourage you to seek professional help. I am providing links below for you. This question of whether or not it's a good idea to tell a narcissist that they are a narcissist is a very, very common question. I know I certainly wondered about it, and if I'm being honest, I agonized over it for a little bit. I think the answer of no, it's not a good idea is a little too simple for those of us that are desperately trying to find a solution to a very distressing problem. So I'm going to really explain why this doesn't really help, what might happen if you were to do this, and how a narcissist might actually react. This question really comes from a place of desperation a lot of the time. We are desperate to find a solution, to find a way to get through to the narcissist, to find a way to communicate, to fix this relationship. We really get to a point of helplessness. We haven't really realized that all along in this relationship, we have been pretty much helpless to fix it or to turn it into a healthy relationship, but we may not have realized that until now. And now we realize that there's only so much that we can do. If this relationship is going to work, if it's going to be healthy, the narcissist has to change. And it's really, really hard to accept that we can't change somebody else, especially somebody that can be so cruel and so unreasonable, somebody that most people would think should change. It's really hard to let go. And I think that when we're recovering from a trauma bond, all kinds of solutions can race around in our heads. We can spend an enormous amount of time ruminating and obsessing over every little thing that we might not have tried. One more little thing that maybe could help. It's so hard to stop thinking about it, and I think it's nearly impossible to force our brains to stop trying to solve it. So this is one of those little things that pops up in that blizzard that can form in our heads is, what if we just tell the narcissist that he or she is a narcissist? If we could somehow just make them understand, then maybe they'll do something about this, and maybe we won't be so helpless anymore. Maybe they can finally do the things that we really just can't do without their cooperation. I first just want to clarify with this question, should we tell a narcissist that we know that they're a narcissist or that we think that they're a narcissist? I think some people approach this question with the mentality that the narcissist knows that he or she is a narcissist, that the narcissist is somehow like guarding this special secret, that they are hiding the fact that they're a narcissist. And while this might be the case in rare circumstances, I mean, there are billions of people in the world. Most pathological narcissists don't even know what narcissism is, and I'm sure that they really don't care. They're certainly not going to sit and take the time to study some psychological phenomenon or disorder. I mean, why would they care about that? And if somehow something connected narcissism to them, they still wouldn't really care about it. Narcissism is not some secret they're keeping. Narcissists are trying to hide their true identity from the world. They're trying to hide something that they're not even in touch with. They don't even know what it is. They're trying to hide their true self that doesn't really actually exist because it never had a chance to develop. They're not hiding narcissism from the world. Narcissism is what they use to hide themselves. So if you were to say, I know you're a narcissist, most of them are just gonna think you're crazy. They're not gonna know what you're talking about, or they're just gonna think it's some empty random insult. So I just want to get that out of the way. It's not like they're going to think, oh, you got me, shoot, you uncovered my secret, because that's just not the way almost all of them think. Now, for narcissists that happen to know what narcissism is and might understand what it is, they're either never going to believe that they themselves are a narcissist, because narcissism itself is what prevents them from acknowledging any of their flaws. So they're either never going to believe that they're a narcissist, or they're not going to care. They're not going to see it as a flaw. They're just going to see it as a trait. And they're not going to see anything wrong with it because, again, they cannot recognize any flaws within themselves. Or some of them might actually be proud of it. I think that even for narcissists that are proud of being narcissists, most of them probably don't even really understand what it is. They probably look at it as something that just makes them special, of course, special. And I'm sure that they see it as some kind of advantage. They look at, quote, normal people that let their empathy make their decisions for them as maybe some kind of sucker. So I think that they would only see it as an advantage. So if you tell a narcissist that they are a narcissist, they're either not going to believe you, or they're not going to care, or they're going to be proud of it. So telling a narcissist that they are a narcissist is either going to be perceived as an insult, a compliment, or something that's just completely irrelevant. It is a baseless fantasy to think that we can tell a narcissist that they're a narcissist and they're going to have some kind of self-awareness, some kind of existential crisis, and they're going to realize that if they just completely overhauled and changed everything about them, that you would feel better. They don't care about that. And narcissism is working for them. Narcissism is how they get through life. And they don't care who they hurt. That doesn't matter to them. They are never going to change who they are because you think they should, or society in general thinks they should. They don't see anything wrong with the way they behave and the way they carry on. Even if you could somehow get through to them, and even if they could somehow completely understand what you mean, and even if they believed you and accepted, you're right, I am a pathological narcissist. Even if that happened, they would still expect you to change. They're not going to change. They're not going to acknowledge that there's anything wrong with the way that they are. So even if, best case scenario, they took you seriously and understood what you meant, they're still not going to see that as a reason that they should change anything. They would probably see it as a reason that you should change. They would probably turn it around on you and say, oh, okay, then you understand why you need to do better. And I also want to point out here that if you're really getting stuck in this place in your head where you're going in circles, trying to think of the things that you might say, the things you haven't said, or the ways you haven't said them that might help, that might make a difference. If you're getting caught in this trap of trying to think of ways to explain to a narcissist that they are a narcissist, in my opinion, it's much more helpful and it makes more sense to describe the behaviors that are making you think that this person is a narcissist. Because the word narcissist, I mean, it is a disorder, and in a way you are kind of diagnosing somebody with something that you don't have the credentials to diagnose them with, and that's not going to be lost on them. They're going to wonder who you think you are, trying to diagnose them with some mental disorder. I think it goes over much better to describe the specific things they do that are so troublesome, so problematic, because in reality, as I've said before, the narcissism itself isn't the problem. It's not that this person is a narcissist, it's that this person screams at you all night long. It's not that this person is a narcissist, it's that this person doesn't listen to anything that you say. It's not that this person is a narcissist, it's that they put you in no-win situations and double binds, and they back you into corners, and they can never admit when they're wrong. It's just that there's a name for all those things when you collect them together and put them all in one basket, but that doesn't really mean anything to a narcissist. So I think it makes more sense to talk about the problematic behaviors. But of course, none of that's going to do any good anyway because you're talking to a narcissist. The bottom line is, however you slice it, if you try to tell a narcissist that he or she is a narcissist, you are likely going to be very, very disappointed. I really can just confidently promise you that nothing good will come of trying to tell a narcissist that he or she is a narcissist. Nothing good will come of it, with the one possible exception that you will no longer have to worry about whether or not it would have made a difference. And there is something to be said for that. I do think that there is value in trying things that you just can't let go of, that you just can't stop thinking about, trying them out and seeing for yourself what happens, seeing for yourself that they don't work. But do be prepared for a pretty immense disappointment if you think that there might be any chance that the narcissist is going to take you seriously. Narcissists that actually do decide to change themselves, and those people do exist, but they change not because they realize something's wrong with them. They change because their narcissism is no longer working for them. So even if you were able to get through to a narcissist, and even if they completely 100% believed you, that is not a reason for them to change. Narcissism is a collection of defense mechanisms, of subconscious defense mechanisms that they use to cope with life. It's the only way they know how to cope with life. They don't know how to get through the day without using narcissism. And they really don't even realize the ways that they're doing it because it's all subconscious. They are not going to give up that security, those things that have helped them get through life. They're not going to give that up unless they stop working. No matter how much you hate the way that they act, no matter how unreasonable, how cruel, how problematic, how devastating their behavior is to other people, they have no reason to give up their narcissism until their narcissism starts causing them problems. And even if they wanted to change, even if they realized that their behavior is causing all these problems for all these people, and they actually, for whatever reason, decided to start to care about that, even if that happened, changing for a narcissist is not a simple thing. It's not that easy. It takes an enormous amount of effort and therapy, specialized therapy, and it's not as simple as it seems to most of us. To most of us from the outside looking in, it's like, well, just stop flying off the handle over nothing. Stop lying. Stop pretending that you're something that you're not. Stop getting so angry all the time. It seems so simple to us, but this is all they know how to do. They don't know how to regulate their own emotions, and they don't know how to interpret the world correctly. They don't know how to act. They don't know how to handle themselves. They don't even know who they are. They can't get through life without constant feedback from the outside world, and they don't care how other people feel about them. They don't care how they're affecting other people or how they're making other people feel. They only care about how other people are making them feel about themselves. And another point I want to make is when we get to the point where we want to tell somebody that we think that they're a narcissist, I understand that. I've been there. I know that it's just like this last ditch, desperate effort to maybe get through to this person and maybe be able to change things, even if we know deep down that it's not going to work. But if we think about this, if we compare it to something like if we had a loved one that we thought might be suffering from depression, or maybe something like physical illness, like maybe like diabetes, because we saw certain symptoms and we started worrying about that person because we care about that person. I think it's different to bring something like that up to somebody that we love out of concern, saying, hey, I've noticed some things, and I think maybe you should go see a doctor and get evaluated because I don't want to see you suffer, or I don't want to see you ill. That's a little different than when we approach somebody with, hey, I think you might be a narcissist, because when we approach somebody with that message, we're really, if we're being honest, we're really doing it for ourselves. We're really trying to change somebody else into a person that we can tolerate living with. We're trying to change somebody into someone that isn't cruel and abusive and unreasonable and impossible to deal with. The world is full of horrible, awful people, and it's not our job to let them know how terrible they are. It's not our job to stick around and try to figure out how to fix them. There are many, many people in this world that are already the person that you're desperately trying to turn the narcissist into. And we don't need to spend any of our time and energy on these people that treat us like we don't matter, that don't even think of us as an afterthought. I know how hard it is to let go of these types of relationships that we thought were something that they weren't. And I think part of this idea of telling a narcissist that we think they're a narcissist, I think we're trying to convince them to turn themselves back into the person that we thought they were in the beginning. But the truth is they were never the person that we thought they were, and they will never become the person that we thought they were. But there are people better than who we even thought they were, because there are people out there that are real and that actually care, and that we don't have to beg and plead and convince to be decent. I hope that you're able to let go of the idea that you can somehow mold a pathological, abusive person into somebody that probably already exists out there in the world, once you're ready to let go, to do the healing work, and to open yourself up to finding that person. I hope this helps. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and comment below any ideas you have for me for future videos. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you like this video and would like to see more like it in the future. Until next time, thanks. Bye.